Good morning, traders. Welcome to this week's Asian session update through Trade Zone. I'm Joseph. Thank you very much for checking out today's video. So we'll start with, we're looking at crypto at the moment. We'll start with the dollar index. It continues to trend range bound. We saw a pretty choppy session on Friday after US GDP data. Now that data came in on, just update that for you. Sorry, it will be a tick. It's going to move back over. Let's just change weeks. So the data came in on Friday morning. Now the GDP data came in at a little bit higher than expected. It was 3.3%, and then on Saturday morning to end the week, we had the core PCE price index, which came in at 0.2%. So we can see there was a little bit of mixed data there for the dollar, and after a bit of a move down, we did see it move back up, and so that this remains range bound really between these two levels here, and there's that support level there at 103.17. Plenty of demand under that all the way down to a previous test point, which is around 102.71. And for now, we'll continue to see if this trend can continue to remain in play, and if we can get a new up leg up to really test 104.14. That was where the last rally came down after that lower high, and we saw that new extension lower. So with that trend break here, we're going to see if buyers can continue to push. If we do see a fail here, we'll look to see if sellers do move back down to test that support, and then if we get a break of that support. So they're the two scenarios we'll be looking for with the dollar. Oil was also very firm to finish last week. We can see that strong session here. This is the next resistance point up at 78.89. We saw a break of that previous point of resistance here on Friday's session at 77.62. US indexes have been quite firm of late. We did see a bit of a mixed session on Friday. Sorry about the sun this morning. There's not too much I can do with that. And so some of so the US 30, for instance, here we saw a higher move up, and if we just look at US indexes, we can see the Dow gained while the S&P and Nasdaq did stall on Friday. So we can see here a little bit of short-term range resistance coming at 38.089, but that trend still remains up, and will continue to follow this uptrend after that last breakout. We do see a continued stall and a move back down through this area at 37.828. Then we'll look to see if sellers are trying to take control on the short to medium term. Looking at the NDX and the S&P, we can see the NDX had put in new records. It couldn't follow it up on Thursday, and then we saw a bit of a pullback on Friday. And the S&P 500 or the SPX CFD market, similar story. We'll just update that. So we can see here a little bit of a test, and new records were set on Friday, but couldn't hold that, and we saw that pullback. So if we just zoom in a little bit here, we can see resistance here at 4894.19 and support down at 4871.23. So currencies at this stage this morning with a pretty flat dollar. Didn't see too much heavy direction, so we can see a bit range bound, but it still looks a little bit bearish. We see a lower high here, plenty of support for the Aussie around this down to 0.6564, but plenty of resistance as well, and we do have a bit of a lower high there in a downtrend. So could this be a continuation? We really need to break this level of support here at 65.43 to really get that going, and then we'll need sellers to really get back down to that point to start to really put that picture into the equation. And for the euro, we can see a bit of a move lower there. There's not too much support about another lower high. It does have a bit of a continuation pattern look about it at this stage. And the pound, similar story, range bound, and like we've seen some other markets discussed, and we've seen heavy, pretty firm resistance up at 1.2754. Short-term resistance is at 2670, and then we get that firm, longer-term key resistance down at 2609. And for the yen, after Sorry, we'll just do the dollar CAD first. We can see interesting pattern, another range bound pattern here. 1.3424 support, resistance up at 35.22. So we'll need to see a breakout of that price pattern to get a move going. We can see there's a trend here that could be a continuation in the trend. So we'll continue to see if buyers can hold and feed off this support area here. And but after Friday's move lower with a higher oil price, we'll continue just to see if that can remain in play or if we do see a new test. And gold so far this morning is slightly lower. We can see some support down from around 2011 and then further resistance up at 2030, and we'll see if gold can snap out of this here, but it does have a bit of downward pressure. We can see this series of lower highs, and if for that to be broken, we really need to see a break of this level here and this high here at 2039.80 to signify that buyers are back in control. So cryptocurrencies at the moment are trading lower this morning, but they have had some pretty good sessions over the weekend. We'll just touch on silver first, and we can see a couple of other markets have been doing pretty well. So having here a look at platinum did at 2.35%, and we can see as well palladium as well 2.52%. So just quickly having a look at those. See those markets here fought back quite nicely on Friday, even though other precious metals finished a little bit lower. So platinum, for instance, is looking quite good at the moment. We have a nice bounce there off of the support area, and there's a resistance break here. This has a little bit more to test to break out of that range. If we did see another move up with a pullback and a new move up, that could be a really good sign that there is a new trend in place. So platinum is definitely one to keep a bit of an eye on out of the metals. And just touching on cryptos this morning, we can see Bitcoin fighting back from a bit of a softer start with a very nice move back up to 42,848 during the weekend, and that was after last week's really strong move higher that broke resistance and has started to break this downtrend. Even if we do have a bit of a pullback, we'll look to see if we then have another move higher that tests and breaks the previous high. And from a weekly perspective, we are starting to look at this as maybe a pause in the selling and maybe a potential continuation in the uptrend, but we need to see a little bit more work, i.e. buyers to move and break back above 44,361, and we're seeing this pattern across a couple of coins. So Ethereum doesn't look as good, but we are seeing that support there at 222, it's 42.75, and we just want to see if buyers can build there and snap up and break this 2470 area. Same with some of the other key coins. So Canado, for instance, we can just see things starting to slow right down with some of that selling. And we'll just look to see if buyers can now start to break that previous weekly high and start to get a bit of a continuation off and running after, and then maintaining this new uptrend. And looking at Sol and some of the other coins, similar story there, nice fight back. But we just need to see that follow through now. We do see a new move down to test those lows. That would be a bit of a warning, I'd say. And similar story for Ripple. We can see that real key support here. We want to see that level hold at 47.36, and price also just to remain above that 50 cent point. So you can see the 50 cent point down at this level here, and we want to see if buyers can continue to hold that. Otherwise, we'll be looking for this support area to remain in play. So some of the markets so far this morning, there are some moves to continue to have a look at. A few things are in situations at the moment where they're going to need a little bit more time to work themselves out after the previous moves that we have been seeing. The ASX futures has just started to come online, so we'll just have a look at it, and we can see it has started with a little bit of a decline. It's not a surprise with some of the weaker leads that it does have at this stage, i.e. from the US, and then from some of the European indices as well. So majority of the European indices though were pretty firm. So we can see the German 30 and the France 40. So we'll look to see if the ASX today can get back up to retest 76.14. There's a bit of resistance up at that level, but there's a fair bit of support, fair way down at 73.53, and a little bit of short-term support we'd like to see coming around 75.48. So we'll see what happens for Monday with the ASX. ASX, and if we do see buying come back up, if we can see a test of that resistance here. So that's some of the things to keep an eye on, and some of the things that are happening to start this week. We will have our economic outlook video later on today, and then we'll have our normal market updates coming out today and through the week. So thank you very much for your time. We wish you all the best with your trading this week, and thanks again for tuning in, and bye for now.